Welcome to the OT Assets and Lansweeper video, where I'll go more into detail on how you can start scanning your OT and also show you some of the results and explain a little bit of how the actual scanning works as well. Now, when you create an OT scanning action, there's actually a few things that happen in the background as we start retrieving the information. First off, we get the information from the devices, from the OT devices, using the ARP protocol. Then we map those devices with the protocols that we have available. And last, we are able to then send a request to those devices using the protocols that they support, seeing as we've been able to kind of understand that from the initial kind of information gathering using the ARP protocol. That way, for most of the devices, most of the OT devices, we're able to get all the information without you having to specify which protocol should be used. Now, there is an option, there are advanced options and methods for you to select specific protocols if you have the need to actually really specifically target specific devices with a very specific protocol. If you are aware that you have devices that are very sensitive to any kind of probing, the OT scanner has already been created with that in mind so that we don't overload any OT devices. But if you're still a bit hesitant, if you know that certain devices are super sensitive, we do have advanced methods available for you to specify which protocols should be required for each different device that you try and retrieve information from. Now, to actually show you how this works and what it looks like, I'm going to jump into Lansweeper here and show you how to create first a OT scanning target and then also show you some of the results. So here within Lansweeper, obviously, since we want to create a target, we're just going to head over to the scanning or the discovery area, where you'll start on the discovery actions. This is where you can add a new discovery action. Now, I already have one, so I'm just going to jump into that. This will look identical for you when you create a new one. It will just not be filled in yet. But basically, you just give it a name. You can add your targets here, which will just be a list. In my case, I have a bunch of kind of publicly available OT devices that I'm retrieving here as an example. And then if you want to add any exclusions, that can be done. Credentials are generally speaking not required. And then you select what kind of trigger that you want. How often do you want these devices to be discovered and updated? And the important part here is that obviously when you add a sensor, that you make sure that you add a OT sensor, because otherwise it will use the IT sensor to try and discover it, which will send a whole bunch of different commands to it. So you want to avoid doing that to your OT devices, because generally speaking, they don't play nice when an IT sensor starts probing them. So be sure to select the OT sensor here. That's basically it. All you then need to do is just hit save and exit, and that will save the target for you, the action for you, and then you can even hit the kind of play button to discover it straight away, and that should start running then, and you'll start seeing data come in. Now, what kind of data can you expect? I'll have one example here ready for a specific Rockwell automation device, OT device here. As you can see, we'll get all the basic details. We'll get IP address, MAC address, kind of the state that's in, model, manufacturer, kind of firmware. Also provide you the information of what kind of protocol we use to discover it, as well as we have some extended property information, lifecycle information as usual. And all this also gets enriched since we do have the actual firmware information. If there are any vulnerabilities on it, we'll also be able to identify those with our risk insights enrichment that we do. And then if you want to get more details on it, you can also go to the bus config, assuming that it is like a PLC or something like that. You're able to see here for each different slot that you have, you can go through all of them. You can see what kind of component is in that slot. You also see the firmware for each different slot. So there's a lot of extra information here that we pick up so that you have a complete overview of exactly your rack, everything that's in it, and all their specific details. So that covers our OT assets video. If you want to learn more, head over to the next video.